This is a Dragon Blazer production. Your neighbors are going to hate us.
Well, they're gone. It's fine. Hey, everyone. I'm Steven. And I have my lovely co-host, Summer. And we're back!
Finally back.
Back again like we're the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, God. I prefer NSYNC, but okay.
Well, they didn't sing a song called NSYNC's Back, okay? The Backstreet Boys sang a song about how they're back.
All right.
The Cat in the Hat has a book about coming back.
They do?
Yeah, it's called The Cat in the Hat Comes Back.
Oh, okay. Justin Timberlake brought sexy back. So.
He did bring sexy back. And we're bringing sexy back right here on Drunk Like Me.
Let's not get carried away.
Why not? Isn't that why you have a podcast, is to get carried away? Especially
you're
one
not wrong.
Called Drunk Like Me.
You are not wrong.
Exactly. Well, after a year hiatus for reasons.
A series of unfortunate events.
That's right. So all the references on this episode already. Yeah, we are back to cover the next episode of Dead Like Me. Which I should have probably remembered what it was called.
Oh, crap. I knew this was going to happen. It's
something Reaper. Reaper of some sort.
How convenient.
One second. Let me IMDb this shit. Great convent. Reaping Havoc.
Reaping Havoc. Yeah, that's what it was. Play on words.
Which we waited forever to talk about this episode. And I remember last time we recorded, we talked about how Betty was leaving because of a murder or car accident that involved murder. Murder. And she does leave.
In a very awesome way, she leaves.
Yeah, I've been waiting forever for you to see how this goes down.
Okay, it was like a year. Calm down.
It's forever ago. All right. So, we're going to do these things a little differently. We're going to break this down scene by scene.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, the first scene that we get is Betty's death.
Yes.
Where Betty decides that she is just going to leap off of a giant-ass cliff and very sadly looks at her boyfriend, who says, "Fuck that shit."
Okay, hold on. Rewind. Okay, we have to paint a better picture of this.
Okay.
So, obviously, they were engaged because he got her a ring. Remember later in the episode, she's like, "Oh, my boy got me this."
Yep.
So, the setting is like 1920s, would you say?
I would say 20s or 30s, based on those swimsuits that she's wearing.
Right.
Like, who the fuck wears a cap nowadays?
Some people still.
Oh, well, they're weird.
But anyway, so they're hand in hand, running towards the edge of this cliff, and Betty just she's going full throttle. She's ready.
She says, fuck it.
And he's like, oh, I changed my mind, and like kind of goes to pull her back, but she goes ahead and jumps off. And that's how she dies.
Yep. So, yeah, we get to see her death. We find out she's 100 years old. Well, this is in 2003, so... Well, I mean, technically she's like in her 20s or 30s when she dies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about 100 years old. This takes place... I mean, if this is current based on when the show comes out, 2003... and if she died in the 20s, she's about 100 years old. She's been around for about 100 years.
Did you catch the part where Rube was talking to her up on the bank, and she's talking about her fiance or whatever, and he says, don't worry, that's the last ass he's ever gonna grab, or something like that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So what does that mean? Did he die too, or...?
No. Okay, so... we're jumping ahead scenes there.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm curious.
That was scene 6. We'll just talk about it now.
Okay.
Kind of goes along with this scene.
Yeah.
So, what he was saying was, okay, so you remember how that one black dude touched George right before the toilet seat murders her? If you remember right, that was his final reap. Yeah. And he passes the baton... to George.
So he was a reaper.
The guy grabbing asses was a reaper and decided to grab asses when he... I mean, in fairness, you don't have to explain too much why you're just randomly touching people.
Oh my goodness.
People just know you're a pervert.
Well, that explains that then. Never mind.
So yeah, that wasn't that guy died too. That was him reaping her right before she jumped off the cliff.
Gotcha. Well, that's...
So, this is why we talk about things.
It's a little more devastating.
So, yeah, I mean, what did you think about Betty's death? Betty becoming a Reaper? I loved her voice. Like you
her little flapper voice.
Yeah, her little flapper voice.
It was pretty awesome. Her death, like, just having the build-up of Betty's character this whole time, I figured her death was going to be epic. Like, I'm kind of let down with her death.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like her death is epic.
She jumped off a cliff. Wow. People do it every day.
Oh, you mean her actual death? Oh, yeah. Okay. So I thought you were jumping ahead.
No, this is the scene that we're talking about. I'm trying to stay on topic.
Fair. Yeah. It kind of, though, her death kind of fits to how this episode ends, though.
True.
You know, she jumped off a cliff. Well, we'll talk about it later.
All right.
So that's Betty's story there. Next scene is Rube yelling at George at the Waffle House. Because, you know, how George just likes to... She didn't try to fuck things up this time.
I know.
Did you notice that? Like, this is the first episode where she hasn't, like, tried to find a loophole to avoid someone dying.
I know. It's very weird.
She gets yelled at for doing that.
Yeah.
Because this episode was about Betty.
This is straight all about Betty.
This is about Betty. Betty was the focus.
That's because real life was playing into this, and they were like, how the fuck are we going to get rid of this bitch without telling the whole world that she potentially murdered someone in a car accident?
Right. And it's sad, because I think you kind of hated Betty up until this point.
I did. I was so sad at the end, because I was like, I just started liking her.
I like her this episode, and now she's gone. Yeah.
Story of my life.
These things happen, though. But yeah, she was really likable this episode.
She was.
Which is nice, considering they fired her.
Right.
So they gave her a nice episode and a nice send-off. And I have bad news for you.
Oh, no.
They never explain what happens to her. Like, that mystery
that's pretty shitty.
That mystery has stuck with us since 2003. If you've watched this from the beginning, nobody knows what happened. Like, they never explain it.
Well, I think on our final episode, we should just make up our own.
Alright, so The next episode.
Wow.
The next scene is Millie using the copier and learning about scrapbooking.
Oh my god.
So what'd you think about Millie just saying, fuck it, I'm going to put my eyes on the copy machine?
I love when she turned around and her boss is standing there and it's like a negative.
Yeah.
That was good graphics, good effects right there.
It was very cartoony.
It was. Like, they pulled that off very well.
Like, normally in movies and shit, or TV shows, normally you have someone putting their ass on that copy machine.
Yeah,
There's
not
something
their
like
face.
that on those. Only in cartoons does your face go, and normally it's somebody else, like
slamming your head into it.
Like
yeah.
Jerry throwing Tom's face in the copy machine. That's what happens when your face goes in the copy machine. Nobody does it on purpose. And I guess she just figures, well, I'm dead, so
right.
I'm sure it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
So what do you think about scrapbooking?
Personally or in the show?
Both.
I think scrapbooking is awesome if you have the time to spend 7 hours in a Hobby Lobby and 14 hours putting $700 worth of shit into a book.
I don't have that time. I'm a podcaster.
I don't have that time or money.
Right.
But I feel like it's a nice hobby to have if you have time and resources. Basically, Facebook is my scrapbook. I put all my pictures on there.
Facebook is all of our scrapbooks.
Excuse me. It's a good time.
Good times. Good times.
Good times. I think it's weird that they have like a work scrapbooking club.
What do you think about Millie's dream where she talks about all the I think that was a balls, a testicle.
Oh my god. That was so funny. And if you look, if you're paying attention on that page, it says eyeball ? And then testicle ? And I was like,
she's just not sure what kind of...
What, that was the nuclear reactor accident? Yeah. Right. That was funny. And then she's like, these are some bones that I found in a telephone pole.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my god.
Alright. The next scene is George trying to be friends with Betty.
This whole relationship is weird. Like, first of all, I think it's sad that George wants a friend so bad. Like, I understand that, and I understand the feeling.
I understand wanting a friend.
And I understand how, I'm sure you do. But, I think it's so sad that she just sees everybody as coworkers. Because that's literally how it is. Like, all her Reaper friends are coworkers. Yeah. All the people at work are coworkers.
She has no actual friend.
Yeah.
Other than the Reapers, she can't tell anybody who she is.
Right. And then the one person she did decide that was, like, a good friend of her just jumps into the abyss, so...
Well, later we'll talk about that. And then they're talking... And she's trying to be friends with Betty, and you realize there's this random guy just sitting in the booth with them who apparently died by a spider bite.
That is my biggest fear. We're going to talk about that real quick. I fucking hate spiders.
I love them.
I don't care how big they are. I don't care how little they are. Once that little fucker is out of my sight, I'm concerned for my well-being.
It's like, where the fuck did you go?
Right. I will get out of bed in the middle of the night and check that whole bed to see if he's in there, because I want nothing to do with spiders. So tell me how this guy didn't know that there were tarantulas that were poisonous in his fucking closet.
Actually, fun fact, most tarantulas are not poisonous.
I know. But anyway, how are you not going to feel that big hairy bastard climbing all over you?
I feel like that was a mistake on the part. I think they picked the wrong spider. They just went with something that was big and hairy.
Well, that's what she said.
Is that what she said?
No, not usually.
But I think they just tried to pick something big and scary, because most of the spiders that are deadly
are little and pretty.
Yes, yep. Exactly. Exactly.
Same applies with women.
Right, fair enough. But yeah, tarantulas are traditionally not dangerous. They just look big and scary. Huh?
You still shouldn't pick them up or have them as pets.
I find spiders very fascinating. Their webs are really cool looking.
Webs are great. I love looking at webs. That's cool. I like watching spiders eat things. That's cool. But I want nothing to do with him. I have a shower spider. He stays in his corner. If he comes down, we're going to fight. And I'm going to lose because my ass is going to bust through that glass window.
No, don't get me wrong. I have a healthy fear of spiders. I find them fascinating, but also recognize that they can be potentially dangerous. But I'm the type of guy where I'll take a spider and I'll take it outside because I don't want to kill it. I like it. It's so cool. The only time I killed, and my ex-wife was so shocked. My daughter was freaking out with a spider once when she was, I want to say 8, 9 maybe. And it was in the bathroom, and she's like freaking out, and I killed the spider. I very rarely do that, and it's so much so that my ex-wife, when my daughter told her mom about what I did, she's like, wow. she's like, you actually killed a spider for your daughter? She's like, you never kill spiders. I'm like, I know, but she was
scared. Of the year right there.
Well, my daughter was scared, so I guess I become a murderer. Murderer of spiders.
I was going to say, you should probably clarify that real quick.
Murderer.
Oh my god. Neither of us have murdered anyone
that you
to
know
date. To date.
To date.
To be continued.
Well, we already talked about, the next scene was Betty becoming a Reaper. Mm-hmm. We've already talked about that. After that, George starts asking Betty about the pictures. So what are your thoughts? And I think we're gonna lump this into one big scene. George and Betty and the pictures. So what are your thoughts about Betty's very serial killer-esque desire to take pictures of someone right before they die?
Okay, I love it. First of all, you know that I'm a photographer. I love taking pictures. It doesn't matter what it is. And when she said, when I touch the picture and look at it, there's a little light bulb that goes off in my stomach. Like, I feel that way when I look at a picture I've taken because it's a memory of that exact moment every time. Like, I remember the way the air smelled, the way the moment felt, the people that were there, like the voices. I remember all of it. So I understand her remembering the pictures of every single person she took. And since organization is the key to success, I love the fact that she, like, separates them into different categories.
Right.
I was kind of hoping that the episode would have ended with George going in and grabbing all of the pictures and putting them all into certain scrapbooks to kind of memorialize.
Okay, yeah. She does do something similar, but not quite organized. Yeah, it's weird. I love it. It's.
And I love that she, right before she takes the picture, she says, "Happy thoughts." And, like, the guy, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but the guy at the bar, she's like, "Happy thoughts," and he smiles real big, and then, the rest is history.
Right. So the next scene...
Wait, hold on. Can we...
Oh, yes.
Can we do favorite death thus far? Because it's changed.
Okay.
For me. Favorite death thus far is guy at the bar, because that was awesome. Like, awesome way to die.
Are you sad that you didn't get to see it?
I am. I'm very sad, because, like, as soon as the little demon guy jumped up there on the fish, I was like, hell yeah, impale him. But you don't even get to see it. Like, you just gotta use your imagination. But it wasn't my favorite death, mainly for that reason, but so much the way he acted afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
That
he was like, Yeah, we'll have to. We'll get back into that. Because that leads into the big moment of the episode.
Yeah. Gotta have the build up before the bang.
Right. So, Waffle House Reaper meeting is the next scene with all of them talking about their reaps and how.
Reap vacations.
Yeah, the reap vacations.
Reapcation.
Reapcation.
There we go.
You know what? Even if I had to take souls, I would still be cool with like, okay, we're going to Europe or fucking Mexico and bull runs and shit. They said that they get to have Mai Tais or whatever it was afterwards.
Because he was like, that's why we do it early in the morning, so we have the whole afternoon.
Well, I think they do it early in the morning because that's when the bull run, that's when people die.
Yeah.
I don't think they get to choose. It's not like death is like, 1 second, I'd like to do this at this time.
Yeah, that's why he said it though. He was like, we do it early in the morning, so then we get the whole afternoon.
Yeah.
Sangrias and sunsets.
Party in Mexico or wherever the bull run is. I think bull runs are... I think they have them in Mexico and Spain is where they mainly are. Mm-hmm. That's where the main ones are.
I think a bull run would be cool.
Another scene we're going to kind of lump together because it's one long scene. Mason and the dead woman, the racist dead woman.
Oh my god. She's my favorite person. She's so funny.
I think you liked her because this is probably you.
I am not racist.
Maybe not the racist part, but I can see you be like, can you just let the coyotes come in and kill
I love
eat me?
that. She's like, just leave the back door open.
Just leave the back door. And it's like, that will fuck with them all.
Yeah, the guy was like, Mason was like, I would be very upset if coyotes ate my mom. And she's like...
That's because you're a good boy.
That's because you're a good boy. Like, hell yeah. That'd make your kids think twice about just leaving you somewhere. But I love the fact that he was, like, Mason was a dick to her. She was a dick to him, but they bonded so much.
They were bonding over dickishness.
Yeah. Like, she made him empty out her cup because that was her cup. And he's like, you're never going to use it again.
Yeah, but that's mine. Right. And then he brings a cup. She's like, "Oh, you can have that.
You can keep that
you
one.
Can keep that piece of shit."
And I'm curious to see later on if he actually did keep the cup.
I'm guessing he probably did.
Yeah, because I feel like they had a special bond, which is hard to do with Mason.
It was a sweet story too, because he ends up like burying her, which isn't what she wanted.
Yeah,
honestly, let's face it. She didn't want to be buried. She wanted the coyotes to.
Well, she did say the coyotes dug up 2 of those dogs.
Fair enough.
So.
That's true. But here's the other thing. How much of a mystery does this become when she's already buried?
Right.
Like, it was just a normal death,
she thinks nobody's coming to look for her anyway.
You know, true, but once someone does finally realize she's dead or not there... and she gets found out, you know, it seems like she just kind of had a heart attack while carrying sugar.
Yeah.
They don't really explain what happens to her. But, I mean, that just becomes, okay, an old lady died. Well, once you bury the body and you're not a fucking mortician or a an undertaker, once you start doing that, that's when it's like, what the fuck happened here?
Right. But he's already a Grim Reaper, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't think Mason was probably too high to give a shit.
Probably. And another thing...
and the fact that he takes her Social Security.
Yes, so that makes me think, because, you know, he was writing a letter or whatever, so that makes me think that she wrote the letter making it look like she ran off. Because she said, do you want to keep getting my Social Security checks or not? That's
fair.
So I think they made it look like she ran off.
You know, that is fair.
She's like 107, though. Where the fuck's she gonna go? She's gonna go crash at Bingo Hall every night?
Old. She definitely looked rather old. That's true. But I thought this B story was pretty sweet. I loved seeing her and Mason going back and forth.
I liked it, too. It was very cute. And the soap can... I could not believe the words that they used to describe the soap can.
I can't remember the word she used. I don't know if I want to say it.
No, we should not.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is a thing.
Yeah, we already have no listeners. I don't want to lose those.
Listen, we'll get that one just family member who's going to click on it and be like, yeah, I listened.
Let's hope it's not that family member is like, that's right. That's what you called them.
I don't know, Grandma, do you listen to the podcast?
This podcast is really good. They're talking about those little... Nope. Beep. I could do a beeping sound here.
There we go.
Editing. Anyways, so do you have anything else to talk about with Mason and the old woman?
I kind of liked that he was burying her at night, and the picture that he asked her about was at night with the moon shining through and stuff, so it was kind of like...
Well, yeah, I didn't even catch that.
Pay attention.
That is kind of cool. All right, one thing that we kind of talked about Betty and her pictures, but right afterwards, we get a scene with Millie lumping everyone in categories while taking their picture.
Oh my god.
So, let me ask you, do you feel like people, human beings, can be just categorized like that?
Yeah.
Simple. Yep. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while you get a weird snowflake. And in this term, I don't mean calling someone a snowflake because they don't agree with your views.
Yeah.
I mean, like, snowflakes are different. Every snowflake is different.
No, Betty said people aren't snowflakes.
No, she says that. I'm saying every once in a while you get a snowflake.
Yeah, but she said people aren't snowflakes. They all fit into one category.
Because I believe we're motherfucking snowflakes. I don't feel like
I'm a whole fucking blizzard. I ain't no snowflake.
I don't feel like we belong in a category. Do you?
Yeah. Maybe on a list or two, but not in a category.
On a list or two? The most wanted one?
Maybe.
We're in the top 10, motherfuckers.
Gotta be top 10 at something.
Once again, we've never killed anyone.
If you ain't first, you last.
Yeah, nope, didn't happen. We wouldn't be the first, I assure you that. People have been murdering people for years, okay?
Again, we didn't kill anyone.
We didn't start it.
We didn't start the fire.
It was always burning.
This world's been turning.
That's right. Alright, then we get a scene where Millie blows off drinks. When she was offered to...
Blow? Being the main word there.
Let's just say I said that on purpose like that.
What a coinky-dink.
Coinky-dink.
That was funny, though. Like, her boss just cracks me up every time.
Yeah.
Because, like, you want to hate her, but she's just so fucking weird that you love her at the same time.
She's insane.
But she's just like, I'm so proud of you, and you just fill me with such pride. And I love that every time she hugs someone, she doesn't, like, hug them with their face against her. She puts their face in her titties and suffocates
right
them.
Right in the titties.
Every time.
Yeah, and one thing I suppose we should mention. So, George/Millie tells her boss, Dolores, and her big brown eyes, that she is she's sober 1 month.
Yes.
And can't go to drinks. And her sponsor, which I love the fact that Rube just shows up.
I do too.
He just rolls with it. And then he's just like, you mean this Millie? She was well behaved.
A good worker.
And hard worker. She doesn't give you lip.
He's like, this one?
This one?
And I love that he went through all of the M&Ms and took the colors that he wanted.
Yeah, he just wanted the colors.
I do that all the time. Like, there are certain M&Ms I don't want to
So you're
eat.
Racist with your M&Ms?
I am. I don't want those yellows.
I only want the green ones, motherfucker.
Nope. No, not even the green ones. I only want the reds and the blues.
Oh, just the reds and blues. Okay. So, So after this scene, they do go out to the park.
Me too.
Not for kite flying.
No.
But we're going to the MJ Bowers reunion.
Something flew, but it wasn't a kite.
Yes. Very true. Very true. And once again, so this time Millie does not take, but I don't feel it's her fault.
No.
It's not her fault. They had two MJs that were possibly dying, and it turns out to be someone that's not even the one of the two they found.
Right. But how cool was that? Like, okay, not even just seeing it, because, like, if I would see something like that happen, I would expect, like, a huge hole missing out of someone's skull. So if a canoe came flying off the top of a car and hit someone in the head, I would be expecting a hole. And then they show this man sitting at the diner, and, like, half of his face is, like, 6 inches lower than the other half. Like, no hole, just a lot lower and swollen. And he's like, tell my family I'm fine. Like, no.
Just tell them it's from Jesus. It's fine.
Yeah. Love Jesus. Everything's fine. Love Jesus.
Love Jesus. Yeah, I like this scene. You got the kid that they thought was MJ.
Stuck in the slide.
Little fat kid stuck in the slide. Poor kid. And then the guy, the old guy was, looks like he was just
lighting a grill.
And then it turns out to be, nope, both clue answers are wrong. It was the MJ down the road with a fucking kayak.
Was it a kayak?
Was it a kayak or a canoe? I'm not sure which one. It was probably a canoe.
Both
Canoes
of them
are
go
heavier.
in the water. I don't know.
Canoes are heavier. I'm guessing it's a canoe.
He got canoodled.
And there was a little fake out because there was a car that almost hit him, but then it was the second car that had the canoe on it.
Yeah,
that
I was
flew above the car.
So my thing was, when that car stopped and almost hit him, I thought for sure that's when Grandpa was going to explode.
Now, so we got 2 deaths, and I know we kind of talked about the first one, but we haven't got to that scene. Do you remember something we talked about when it comes to deaths in Dead Like Me? Did you notice a difference between the 2 deaths?
Yeah, they didn't. Nobody got touched. They didn't claim them.
No.
Yeah. No, because they were
touched,
at the diner.
They touched the guy, the Scottish guy. They touched him.
Wait, which deaths are we talking about?
I'm talking about the death of the Scottish guy.
Okay.
And then the death of the guy with the canoe in his head. Big difference between the 2 deaths.
Well, the one guy was happy and, like, super stoked and was just like, hell yeah. And then the other guy was like, no.
Not talking about feelings.
What the fuck are you talking about then?
So, if you remember right, one thing we talked about is if you take the soul before they die.
Yeah.
When they die, you don't see their body mangled the way they're dead.
Yeah, I always forget about this.
The canoe guy did not get his soul taken out. That's why his face was
hanging
up.
down, but guy who got stabbed by a swordfish was fine.
There was no hole.
Yeah. I always forget about that.
It was a huge difference between the 2, because one got taken after he already died, so his face was already messed up.
True.
So I wanted to bring that up because I remember we talked about it before.
I don't know why I always forget about it, but I definitely did again.
It's one of the continuations of the show that I really like.
Yeah, I like that.
If you notice it, yeah, their afterlife bodies are different based on whether their soul is taken beforehand. It was one of her big lessons. Alright, so
it's her fault that dude has a fucked up face and has to live his whole afterlife with it.
Yeah. Well, he goes to heaven. I'm guessing it fixes afterwards.
I don't know.
But
It's kind of a dick. So maybe he didn't make it to heaven.
Right. Fair enough. He did seem like kind of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the next scene we have is the drinking scene with the other guy that dies. The Scottish man dancing a jig on the bar.
That's how I want to go out. Right, dude, you get it. and then this swordfish just comes out of nowhere, and you see their faces just go from complete, you get it, and then this swordfish just comes out of nowhere, and you see their faces just go from complete, you get it, and then this swordfish just comes out of nowhere, and you see their faces just go from complete happiness to holy fuck. It's a good way to go.
Exactly. And then we get the scene. And before we talk about the scene, I am going to play a clip of the scene where Betty jumps in.
I know you were having fun in there. Sorry you couldn't stay.
It might have been short, but I can't argue with the time I did have. It's the cliffs of Dover.
The best thing about cliffs is jumping.
I'm not much for jumping. Not much for landing either.
You don't have to worry about where you land.
A leap of faith.
If you've been putting off a jump, just putting it off, sometimes the subtle things are what make you take the plunge.
Here, take my picture.
What? What?
Take my picture.
Why?
Happy thoughts. For my beautiful young friend. I love you, sweetie.
What are you
Time
doing?
to shake things up a bit. Piggyback ride.
No, Rube said we can't go where they're going.
Open doors and invitation. Gotta jump while the door's open.
And just like that, she was gone.
All right. So, what did you think? This is kind of a big scene in the show because I'm going to spoil it for you.
Uh-oh.
We never find out what happens to Betty.
This breaks my heart because, I'm going to be completely honest, Betty, I feel like I relate to Betty. Even though I didn't like her at all for like every episode up till now. But I feel like
you hate yourself, so therefore you do relate to Betty.
True. I also am very, what's the word? I want to say flighty, but I don't think that's the word. Like, when I want to go, I want to go. And you know this. Like, I'm the person that got off work one night and drove to Niagara Falls. Just because I wanted to.
The word you're looking for is spontaneous.
Spontaneous. There
You're
we
very
go.
spontaneous.
I am very spontaneous.
If you want to do something, you just let it happen.
Yep, it's gonna happen. Like, I just follow through with it, and I feel like if I was in the same predicament that Betty was, I would have done the same thing. Because it's just like every other job. You're gonna get to a point where you don't want to do it anymore. And I feel like she got to that point and she's like, fuck it, piggyback ride.
Yeah. Huge scene, and it's kind of interesting, especially with the fact that we never find out exactly what happens, and even Rube doesn't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like, Rube leaves a post-it on the door, like, what happened to her.
Yeah. That part made me so sad.
And how heartbreaking is it watching George cry about Betty?
And then she said, I didn't have a brother. I had an older sister. And I was like, oh. I'm like, don't cry. It's just a TV show, you emotional bitch.
So I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I want to admit this. I did cry.
Pussy. Just kidding.
A tear, at least one tear. We're just gonna say it's one. Streamed down my face.
Uh-huh.
It was emotional.
It was very emotional.
And Rube was so sweet with her. After all the shit she has pulled, he was very sweet when it came to Betty. Number one,
she's a pistol.
It's not her fault. He recognized that, despite what Betty did, that's what Betty did. That wasn't she didn't get blamed for it.
Right.
And she was brokenhearted. Like she finally thought she had a friend.
Yeah. A sister.
And then she lost her right off the bat.
But I like that she gave her ring.
Yeah.
And she was like, I love you so much. And then she said, here, take my picture. And then she was like, happy thoughts. It's smiled real big. And
so when she started doing all that, did you know what she was about to do?
I figured it out. As soon as she started talking about taking the leap, and which has been consistent through the whole show, she's talking about, I've always been one to jump. And I'm like, me too, bro. Me too. And then at the end, when that all came up, I was like, oh shit, she's really going to do it.
And they make it a big deal too. Like, literally, like, she jumps and it's like Superman screaming in Justice League.
Yeah.
The Zack Snyder cut.
The whole world.
Whole world. Boom.
And Rube's sitting at the cafe and his coffee starts shaking.
Yeah. They did the whole Jurassic Park thing with his coffee.
And Mason is burying the lady and he feels it. Like, they all feel it.
Yeah, it was such a weird, very big scene. Crazy that it happened. And then we don't know.
I feel like that was the best way for her to go, though.
I think, considering she got fired, it was a hell of a way for her to go.
And I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like that they didn't want to fire her, but I think it was bad for publicity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a little, I mean, I don't know if people were hammering for it, or if the producers were just like,
this could go south. Because
and what I read about it was that it wasn't so much that they thought it might be a little weird. They thought it was kind of insensitive having her who's taken a life
as
in a show where she's taking people's souls. Mm-hmm. And they were worried about some backlash with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was backlash. I think they were just worried about it based on what came out.
Right. But besides all that, she's a hell of an actress, my bad. And she's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, and I love her hair.
I'm not sure if she comes in the next one, but we get a new Reaper in the next, I think next episode. I think I even remember her name. I haven't watched this show in forever, but I believe it's Daisy O'Dare.
Daisy O'Dare.
Daisy O'Dare.
Who gives these people their new names?
I don't know. I'm guessing they have someone on set that's their job to come up with names.
Well, whoever it is, I would hate to meet their pets. Because I guarantee you they have the weirdest fucking names. And they'd be like, this is Fuzzy Mr. Bottomsworth.
Fuzzy Lumpkins.
Fuzzy Lumpkins.
Yeah, yeah, she is the new Grim Reaper, and I don't think they have an episode without her. You noticed who we didn't get this episode?
Yeah, Mail Lady.
Mail Lady?
Mail Lady, yeah.
Mail Lady. Yeah, crazy one.
I can never remember her name.
Roxy,
that's it. Yeah, I was like, where is Roxy?
Yeah, I thought so. I wonder if maybe Betty and or the actresses didn't like each other, so she's like, yeah, just give her this episode. I don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to say bye. She can deal with it herself.
I am guessing it was just mostly they wanted to focus on Betty, and they came up with a side story for Mason, but didn't want to do another side story.
Right. I kind of feel like Rube is becoming more of a dick lately.
Rube is definitely a dick at times. That's for sure.
Crazy.
But yeah, and then we get Millie at her job. I'm just gonna call her Millie when she's at Happy Time. That's her. That's what everybody knows her as.
Yeah.
At Happy Time. It's Millie.
Millie.
And she does a scrapbook. It seemed like she did, but I don't know if if the other people realized that those were pictures of people that all died.
Yeah, I don't think they.
I don't know.
That.
The second she turns the page, and they don't really show it, and it almost like she showed their dead bodies or something.
Right.
But then she's just like, "Oh, scrapbooking 101. These aren't photo albums."
Yeah, and I thought that was sad because she was like trying to connect with them.
And then they're like,
just
yeah.
like, we don't do that.
Well, you fucked up.
It's like the whole Mean Girls thing, you can't sit with us. Like, I don't know. It's just, I feel bad for her. She needs a friend. She just lost her sister / friend, and she's like trying to figure out her whole Grim Reaper world. Life is rough for this 18-year-old.
Right? Dead girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out here trying to get her shit together with her little frog.
Right? But, well, that's pretty much the episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
What'd you think of this episode?
I really liked this episode a lot. I feel like it touched on, like, a lot of sentimental points.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens next episode, especially since Betty's gone. I don't know how they're going to fill that void. So that's pretty sad.
Well, they're going to fill that void with Daisy O'Dare.
I know, but, like, you can't take away all those memories of Betty. You know what I mean?
If I remember right,
sad.
I do like Daisy O'Dare more. Because up until this episode, I kind of agreed with you that she wasn't
Betty's
necessarily my favorite.
Kind of a douche.
Kind of a douche.
And I love that she steals all the clothes. Like, that cracked me up that she had the little sensor detachers and stuff. And she's like, this is for the electronic ones. This is for the weird tag ones. And I was like, hell yeah. And then...
Oh yeah, they're crafty, those Reapers.
Yeah, they're all, like, thieves. And, like, I feel like...
George is the only one... Well, George and Roxy are the only ones actually trying to do...
No, because Roxy takes the change out of the things, remember? Because Mason
I thought that was her job.
No, she steals some of it, remember? Because Mason was trying to steal some that one time.
And he gets hit by her.
Yeah. And she's like, no, this is my gig. This is my thing. And she was like putting some in her thing, but putting some in the bag.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm going to know the answer to this one, but who is your favorite character in this episode?
Betty.
I feel like it has to be Betty.
I don't know. Racist Lady was pretty good too.
Yeah, Racist Lady was pretty fun. I kind of agree. I still think it has to be Betty. This was Betty's episode, and I feel like she did a good job at shining.
True.
But Racist Lady was a good addition. Who was your least favorite character in this episode? Did you have one? Because I'm having a hard time picking one. I feel like everybody did a pretty good job.
Let's see.
Even like Dolores quite a bit in this episode. Mason had a good storyline with the Racist Lady.
The guy at work, the one that was like, when she took his picture, he was like screaming and yelling, and she's like, or he's like, I hate everyone here, blah, 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 blah.
That is a stretch. That is a very minor part.
That's the only one I can think of.
You know what? Fair. I kind of agreed. He's the only one that was probably a bad addition. And I don't even know if I would consider him a bad addition. He fit the part that he was supposed to fit.
Very well. The guy that got bit by spiders. He asked them if they were prostitutes.
Oh, yeah. He's like, "Are you two prostitutes?" They're like, "No." Just did it. Whoop. No, sir. They're reapers, not prostitute. They take souls, not dicks.
I knew you were gonna fit that in somehow.
I had to. I can't be just telling these jokes offline.
Nobody would get it.
Exactly. I'm glad you managed to weasel prostitute in there so
You're
I could.
welcome.
Thank you for the setup. I appreciate it.
I laid the pipe for
You did.
you.
Well, they don't lay the pipe.
Exactly. Souls only.
Souls only. Poor George is still a virgin. They kind of mentioned that too.
Yeah.
Because Betty was saying about how she's like, it's so much fun to take off their clothes or have you take
off men's clothes. Yeah.
And George is like, I've never had that.
Yeah. Poor George. Little virgin George.
Poor George. 18 died a virgin. That would suck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you don't know what you're missing out on if you never had it.
Fair enough, but damn, that sucks. You know she's at least seen some porn, right? She knows a little bit of what she's missing, right? I don't know. I don't know if I think George... I don't know if George has watched some porn. Wasn't as easy back then.
Yeah, I was going to say, she doesn't really seem like the porn type. Ooh. But
a lot of people get curious, especially when you're kids. When you're a kid.
Yep, and then next thing you know, you're looking at granny titties and jerking off.
Whoa. Granny titties. Is that what you first started watching?
No.
I mean...
Wasn't me.
Wow, you know someone who has, though.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question. Were they... titties from someone who actually is a grandma at this present time?
I don't know.
Or are we talking about someone in the 70s who once you watch it and jerk off, you realize, I just jerked off to someone who's old enough to be my grandma
I don't know.
back in the 70s?
I'm not sure. I don't know the details.
I mean, these things are important.
I really didn't ask.
No, fair enough.
It was the internet, so God only knows.
I guess if you're watching granny titties, that's like the least offensive thing you could be watching on the internet, porn-wise.
True.
There's way worse out there.
Yep.
I mean, if you like a gilf, I mean, it's whatever.
A gilf, that's great.
Gilf.
I'll eventually be a gilf. I already got the MILF part down, so.
Right.
Not a cougar yet. I found out that I'm technically still a puma until I'm 40.
Is that how it works?
Yeah,
I need
guess.
to know the rules of this. Cougar. So cougar has to be after 40. That's how the rule goes?
Cougar is after 40, and you're a puma before that.
And I want to make an argument real quick, by the way, because there's other rules. You just mentioned MILFs and GILFs, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna lay this down because, in my opinion, a MILF is not just any mother, okay? It's not someone who has a child that doesn't make you a MILF. There's 16-year-olds, and I wouldn't be calling a 16-year-old a MILF, okay, that have children. A MILF, in my opinion, I feel like the rules need to be established right here, right now on Drunk Like Me. A MILF has to be someone who's old enough to be your mother that you want to fuck. That's the rules in my book. So in order for you to be a MILF, there has to be someone way too young. It has to at least be 15 years apart.
Okay.
Because I feel like 15 is right around the age.
So a 17-year-old could consider me a MILF.
A 17-year-old.
I know there's 17-year-olds out there that are like, yes, mommy.
Then I feel like if 17-year-olds want a mommy, there's some Sigmund Freud shit going on there. But anyways. So but yes, that is in my opinion, that's the rules. It has to be at least, I want to say 20 years, but you know what? I'll give you 15 because there are a bunch of kids these days that have children at 15. So 15 years apart before you're considered a MILF.
Well, that's sad news.
That means 30 years apart to be a GILF. Since I just brought up the GILF situation,
know who's a GILF? Helen Mirren. God damn. She's gorgeous.
Dolly Parton.
Dolly. Did you see her Playboy redo?
Dolly might be a great grandmother.
Yeah, she's
a giggle.
A giggle. We love you, Dolly, in case you ever hear this.
You know what? Dolly, we don't deserve Dolly Parton.
We don't.
Dolly Parton is like the best of us, okay?
She is. Like, she should be president. She did all the funding.
Dolly for president. I'd be down for that.
She, like, supports so many different, like, human rights organizations.
So many things that you don't think a woman her age would support. She is, like, the most awesome...
She's everyone's grandma.
Yeah.
Like, literally everyone's grandma. She has a library where you
I have books. Well, not me particularly. But my son gets books.
I knew you read on that level, but I didn't want to bring it up.
Fuck you. Anyways, my son gets books from her book club.
Isn't that cool?
Every month. Yeah, it's really cool. We get a new book every month that I get to read to him.
And she's just so supportive. And I know when COVID was like full bang, everybody was talking about it. She went on and she's like, so I'm giving this much money to these people to help get this figured out. And I was like, how many other rich ass motherfuckers are like, here, let's help save the world?
Exactly,
no,
right?
They're all DoorDashing $7,000 meals to their $800 million mansion.
She is by far one of the coolest old people. She's right up there with Betty White as the coolest old people on the planet.
Betty is like your grandma, crazy, just down to earth.
And not only that, but Dolly Parton's a Southern belle. She's a old country.
That's my thing.
She's an old country soul.
But listen, Dolly is like the step grandma that your dad or grandpa met in Florida on vacation that loves everybody and takes care of everybody.
Cool as fuck.
And is cool as fuck. So you gotta let them reign their own kingdoms.
Right. No.
The golden girl can't touch Jolene's little nemesis here.
Yeah, fucking Jolene. I mean, come on. Who the hell is trying to take Dolly Parton's man?
Right.
I mean, fuck you, Jolene.
I had an order yesterday for a Jolene, and I started singing the song, and not a single one of those kids knew that song. And I was like, who the fuck are you little...
They're like, can I just have my pancakes, please?
Kids? I was like, Jolene, and then I asked my boss, I said, do you know the song Jolene by Dolly Parton? He's like, yeah, I love that song. And he started singing it, and I was like, thank you. Like, everyone else here is uncultured swine.
Uncultured swine. Damn you kids working your 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Good movie, by the way.
I've never watched it.
Oh my god, are you serious?
No.
They try to poison their boss?
What?
Great time.
This is not the movie I thought we were getting.
So many... 9 to 5?
No, I've never seen it.
You would like it.
I don't think I've ever... I love Dolly, but I don't think I've ever watched it. I've never watched The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Oh my god, you've never seen The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas? That's an insult to Dolly Parton right there, because...
It's just one of those... It's just one of those things, like, I just never...
You need to watch The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, because not only does it have...
There's a lot of old movies I need to get back into. Get into watching. But, you know, long story short, Dolly's fucking awesome.
She is, but I'm not done talking about The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Because
she fights for the gays, she fights for the...
Okay, but in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, she runs a brothel. And it's a musical. And Burt Reynolds plays the sheriff that she's sleeping with. So you get to see young Burt Reynolds and... Whew.
Yeah, I think I've seen parts of it. I think my mom was watching it once, so I saw some of it, but not like a lot of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
And it released July 23rd, 1982.
That's the...
And Dom DeLuise is in it.
It's the year I was born.
Dom DeLuise?
That's not that year.
Dom DeLuise is funny too.
Oh yeah, what are we talking about? I feel like I have more questions about Dead Like Me, and we kind of just went on a Dolly Parton. I mean, it's not abnormal for us to go on a tangent on the show.
But the music on the music on Best Little Whorehouse in Texas is amazing. Like, what's the one song? Like,
Jolene?
No. It's like, it's just a little bitty pissant country place. That's the name of the song.
I feel
love
like I
it.
heard that one. I think that song was playing when I was when my mom was watching it.
I love it. You have to watch it. It's amazing.
I'll have to check it out sometime. I feel like I've done a disservice to Dolly.
You have. She'd be very upset. And she was hot as fuck. She sings Hard Candy Christmas in it.
Hard Candy Christmas.
Yeah. Sneaking Around's a good song.
I feel like back in those days that Hard Candy was, you know, those little
Meth rock?
little straw blow anyway.
Blow.
But
say it like
you know
she
those
did.
little strawberry pack or like things that grandma's always had.
Yes.
My grandma had them. The little strawberry packages. I don't know where the hell grandma found those things.
I was gonna say you can't buy.
I don't
those.
know where the hell those are,
you
but
turn
grandma
65
somehow.
and the doctors just give them to you or something.
It's like, yeah, you
the
turn.
fucking strawberry candy fairy comes on like the night of your 65th birthday.
I just imagine it's you're when you become a certain age. There's a certain part of the store that just opens up for old ladies,
like Hogwarts. You got to pass through the wall.
Yeah. That's like, oh, you have your AARP. Walk this way. We've got the little strawberry candies. We got those like weird powdered rock candy that nobody actually likes, but you eat them anyways. Mm-hmm. And don't forget the nuts.
And this tinfoil full of like this little gooey shit that you put on every cut, scrape, and burn you're ever gonna have, and it magically heals overnight. Salve. That's what they called it. Salve.
Salve?
Yeah.
I think it was just lard. And
I think it was too.
Threw a label on it.
Yeah, she's like, shit, come here. You cut your arm off, let me put a little bit of this on here. Or wrap it up, you'll be good as new.
It's kind of nice that we go on a tangent and it's less offensive than normal.
I could throw a little more in here.
I feel like talking about Dolly Parton is the most wholesome thing we've ever fucking done.
Probably. But I don't think that you can go wrong when you're talking about
Even
Dolly
though
Parton.
we're talking about the best little whorehouse in Texas, it's still the most wholesome thing we've ever talked about.
Dolly Parton's hot. But if you see her in Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Dolly Parton is hot. And Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton together, woo. That's a porno I'd watch.
Fair enough. So now back onto the actual show that we watched, Dead Like Me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't even remember how we got onto this Dolly Parton tangent.
I don't either. That's usually how tangents go.
Fair enough. So, I mean, we've talked about favorite character, least favorite character, favorite scene. We did not talk about favorite scene.
Favorite scene is the end.
Oh, her jumping in.
She jumps in
and causes a boom
tidal wave of effects, butterfly effect.
Fair enough.
But I liked it because that's how she died, and now that's how she's going to live elsewhere.
Ish, we don't know.
Yeah, but like still,
she might have jumped into that.
And I love that she said, like, she doesn't want to stay still. She'd always rather jump. And that's kind of how I feel, too. Like, I don't want to stay still in life. So, I'd jump off the fucking cliff, too.
Well, I mean, we think it's how she lives, but who knows? What if God, she jumps into that heaven and God's like, you don't belong here. And then she's like a prisoner of war in heaven. We don't know. That
sounds like some Christian bullshit.
Well, I mean, in the world of the show, how do you look at these places these people go to? I mean, to me, it seems like a heaven-like place. In this show, we know the afterlife is real.
Yeah.
You know, we know that they go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know where.
Right.
We don't know if it's heaven, hell, or something else. It could be
just
Valhalla.
It could be the DMV.
The DMV.
That's purgatory.
That
right
would
there.
be that would be hell. Waiting in line for like eternity.
Yeah, and then your number's called, and right when your number's called, they close all the windows because it's closing time.
And then you got to go back the next day.
Yep.
And
Start all over.
whew, it's like, just stab me over and over again,
Yeah,
okay?
for sure.
Set me on fire.
Set me on fire. Hit me with a dump truck. I don't care.
All right. I don't know if I have anything else. Have anything?
We
Final
talked
thoughts?
about everything from her jumping off of every cliff to Dolly Parton. So,
Dolly Parton.
what was your favorite scene? The ending scene as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's kind of such an impactful scene. I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't watched the show in years, and I remember that scene.
You know the one thing that we didn't bring up that I feel like deserves to be brought up?
What's that?
The boss's cat's bladder issues. And how...
Yes, that's very important for us to talk about.
Listen, that's not the important part. The important part is that Millie is trying to fit in so much.
Fair enough.
She asked how her cat was.
And she remembered the cat's name.
Yeah, everything.
Which I've already forgotten.
Harry?
Nope. I don't feel like that was
Mr.
it.
Mittens? I don't know.
I don't. Two very different names. Harry. I'm thinking Harry. How about Mr. Mittens? It's like you just went one way to the spectrum, right to the other way. Huh?
William Catrick.
William Catrick.
Neil Catrick Harris.
Meow Patrick Harris.
Oh.
Well, I think that's all we have for the show.
It's good to be back.
Good to be back. All right. Oh, I don't have glasses. We can't clink.
Oh, wow. Way to go.
Oh, let's see. How about these two?
Clink the bottoms.
No, there we go.
Brought to you by Pringles.
Thanks for listening to Drunk Like Me. Hey, if you like that video, please like and subscribe my production company, Dragon Blazer Productions. My name is Steven. You also might know me from the Rage and Blaze show as Blaze. So please like and subscribe.